we're going to fade the Oregon State Beavers against Washington State.
Right.
A Pac-2 game this weekend in Corvallis. But here's really why we're doing Oregon State right now is just not playing good ball, guys. They lost their last 3 games, 44-7, 24-13, and 28-0 to Air Force Bear, who stinks this past weekend.
Air Force actually playing better lately, Geoff.
They are. I stopped fading them. I got the fade train, luckily. Well, I took Oregon State last weekend. I lied. Questions at quarterback, injuries. Bear, if I were to ask you how many passing touchdowns does Oregon State have this season, what would you guess? Passing touchdowns for the Beavers.
Ooh. 6.
4 passing touchdowns this year. Washington State's offense, fantastic, 10th in points for driving the country. Their defense is a little bit iffy, Bear. I just gave you a bunch of defenses that aren't very good. The Oregon State can't score upon right now because they're injured. The quarterback, and we only have one wide receiver that's really any good. The offensive line is fine, but they have an injured running back as well. So I think the Cougs go into Corvallis and cover this game by a decent amount. They might score in the 40s in this game, Bear. So give me the Cougars here.
Kind of sad for Oregon State. I know you're probably not sad, but I think you look at the way this 5-game losing streak and how poor they've been, especially defensively. Like, this really just reeks of your roster being just gutted by the demise of the Pac-12, and now you're kind of playing with almost like I don't want to say FCS level team, but like group of 5.
Yeah, they knew they were in for a rebuild this year. I like Oregon State. Not like's maybe the wrong word, but I have friends who coach there. Like I know what they're going through. To your point about roster, and then the hard part is you're going to hopefully have to retain. I mean, Trent Walker is their wide receiver. I'm looking up right now. Bear, he has 96 targets this year. Their next wide receiver is 33. He's a guy that people are going to call about in the offseason. So it's hard right now for the Beavers, and I think Washington State comes in there. And Washington just lost too, so we have a little motivation there to play well this weekend. So give me the Cougars. What's your best bet now?
For the best bet, how bad are the bottom of the rankings, by the way, that if Wazoo can lose to New Mexico and they're still ranked? Like that's what we're looking at here in terms of the bottom of the poll.
I feel like sort of once you get past like the top 12, people just
14
just look at records. Just look at records and like, oh, they're 8-2. All right, they're in. Like it's just they just kind of give up. They don't give their best effort.
Anyway, speaking of which, you asked for my best bet of the week, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I shall deliver, hopefully. I mentioned it earlier in the gambling group chat. I took Oklahoma plus 14. It's plus 13.5 now, unfortunately. I will still take it at plus 13.5 for all the reasons that I talked about. I think Brent Venables is a very prideful man. I think this is a very proud program. To be a 2-touchdown underdog on their home field is a little bit of a slight for a team that, look, I don't think they're a great team, but they certainly have a couple of games where they have lost them late because of some poor coaching decisions, kind of inexplicable losses. Now you've got an Alabama team that has struggled moving the ball at times this year away from home and against a really good defense in South Carolina. So would not surprise me if people were talking about Alabama potentially being an SEC champion if they get to the title game in Atlanta. If they can win this week, they can win the Iron Bowl. A lot of points here. I'm gonna wind up taking OU plus the 13.5 here.
You sprinkle on the money line, Bear, or are we staying?
Yes, I will. I will play a little money line as well because we talked about it in the group chat. Like there are, I mean, Oregon, Wisconsin last week was right there for Wisconsin to win. Like the San Jose State got up 14 points on Boise, and if Ken Niumatalolo would have kicked the field goal, it's 17.
Oh, so frustrating. Yeah.
And who knows what the course of that game is from there. But we've seen some double-digit dogs pull some wind out and give some pretty big scares. We'll see what happens in Norman on Saturday.
I haven't had a lot of bad beats this year in college football. I mostly just either lost or won, like basically like outright. It hasn't been very difficult, Bear. That Boise State one last weekend with San Jose State was
right side wrong
was a kick in the pants. I mean, to have a pick six there at the very end of a game where they were up, they were up for within the number, I should say, for the entire game was kind of a bummer there. All right, Bear. Here's my best bet presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm taking Michigan minus 10 at home this weekend against Northwestern. This is a little disrespectful, this line, Bear. This is a little much for me. We talked about earlier team's off a bye. Michigan's off a bye, which I like. They're rested. They showed some fight against Indiana. I think there's concern this year, like how much fight we're going to see in this team, right? Especially a team that was a title game last season. They fought all year, Bear. And a side note, Biff Pochi got fired by Charlotte. He's back in Michigan already, which really he helped Harbaugh. I think it's important.
Off sleeves back sideline with Sharon Moore.
One of the other guys, Northwestern has played 5 light teams to Michigan. All right, they lost to Washington 24-5, Indiana 41-24, Wisconsin 23-3, Iowa 40-14, and Ohio State 31-7.
How the hell they scored 24 points on Indiana?
That was a game you remember the under in that game? There was a weird win thing.
Oh, that's right. That was the game where we all had the under. When we moved the under like points. Yeah. And it wound up going over. Yeah, because of the wind.
Yeah. Well, Northwestern scored a bunch of points early, and then that was about it. So I just think this is disrespectful to Michigan, who is not that bad, Bear. Like, they have some issues, surely. They're good on defense still.
Average.
Yeah, but they're good on defense. And they're better than Northwestern by 10 points at home. Like, this game is going to be 28-10. And I'm fine taking Michigan here.
Just because Northwestern scored early last week, I watched probably 2 drives too many of the Northwestern offense that I really needed to see. Yeah, I certainly couldn't get there. That's for sure.
Bear Bets full episodes drop twice a week right here on the Bear Bets YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to stay ahead of the odds, and let's celebrate all of our wins together.